now in 2026 with a lot of things happening. Of course, this is an amazing country with wonderful people, great weather pretty much all year round, and delicious food. And we know that people love how affordable it is to live in Vietnam. There's many great things to be said about Vietnam, including the nature, the scenery, but we have to be honest as well and discuss both sides. So, what are some of those points that may push you away from staying here long term? And what should you watch out for if you guys are visiting Vietnam just for a few days or a couple of weeks? All right, first of all, danger. So, how safe is Vietnam really? A lot of people come here and they feel quite safe, especially if you're a male. Even a solo traveler, you go outside and walk around at nighttime and you'll feel completely safe. But the only thing is, there are a lot of scams. I mean, enough for you to notice. I'm not saying it's rampant everywhere, but you're gonna run into them if you stay here long enough. For example, if you guys are talking to a woman and you're here for the dating scene, sometimes you'll run into women that will just try to bring you out to the clubs or the bars, and then they'll charge you excessive amount of money for their company at these bars. So again, a lot of you guys might think, oh, why not? You're spending time with a pretty woman, but at the same time, there are legitimate places where you can talk to beautiful women, have a drink, listen to music, just feel the vibe or like look at the scenery, see people go by, and it's going to be much cheaper. And the establishment is going to be more, professional, clean, well organized. So yes, you can still go to bars, you can still hang out with people, but it doesn't have to cost you like an arm or a leg and deplete your bank account. So other scams, let's say you move into a place through Airbnb and it looks nothing like what you expected, what you looked at online and booked. When you get there, there's going to be pests, rats, cockroaches, moldy. They haven't cleaned the AC unit. It's going to be smelly. People smoked there before you got there. And you want your refund back? Well, too bad. You got to deal with it, or you have to move to another room that they set up for you, maybe smaller, even stuffier, no window, or in a different location far away from where you want to be. Or you just leave and then your deposit is gone. So I would call that a scam. There's many other small scams around. So let's say you're trying to take a motorbike. Those guys by the roadside, they kind of give you a tour, but then they're going to charge you an exorbitant amount of money. So they'll tell you ahead like 150, 200K, but then when it's done or halfway through, they got you somewhere far away from your location in the middle of the city. They bring you somewhere and then they jack up the price. So they'll ask you for like half a mil or a mil, something ridiculous. And then if you don't want to pay it, well, you're stranded there. Or even worse, they're going to give you a tour around the city, but in the end, they're going to bring you to a massage parlor, which will have like shady services for 10 times the price that you were quoted for when you went on the tour. So of course, a lot of time when they say, I'll show you around the city, I'll drive you around to see a lot of monuments and, architecture and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it will come down to the shady places and money, massage, and women and special services. So be careful of that for sure. So beside from the scams, what else can be considered dangerous? If you guys are walking around the street, for example, the cars is not going to give you way. They're not going to yield. So you're going to be the one yielding. So be careful when you're walking across, even at a crosswalk, look both ways and walk slowly, If they slow down or stop, then you can cross. But sometimes they'll just zoom right past you. That includes the motor scooters as well as the cars. So you want to be safe, be careful in the traffic. And if you guys are driving, it's even more dangerous. If you have a license somewhere else and you come here and you think I can drive because I have a motorbike license, well, you got to get used to the traffic in Vietnam as well. It's going to be different everywhere. In Vietnam, it's a different beast. Everybody drive really close to each other and they're swerving around, and they have some rules that are not like street rules, but they're more of like unwritten rules of the road in Vietnam. So be careful about that as well. Will you get robbed and stuff? No, nobody's going to come up and try to rob you jump you or anything like that, but they will be pickpocketing you. So it's kind of like petty crime, you know? They're gonna be pulling that phone out of your pocket if you leave a little opening, maybe in your bag if you don't zip up your bag. And if you leave your stuff lying around somewhere, maybe they'll, slip in and get it and get out. So it's nothing like they'll confront you and take stuff. That may happen, but like very rare, I would say. You never really hear about those things. But yeah, petty theft, like pickpocketing and stuff, those things happen. So the second thing that deter foreigners from coming to Vietnam is the food quality. And this includes food and water. So if you guys are outside, you enjoy, a nice bowl of pho, a bánh mì, baguette, very traditional Vietnamese food that looks tasty, cheap, and convenient to get. The ingredients are fresh and the smells are delicious. But if you go out enough times, whether it's street food or like mom and pop shops, one of the days you're gonna run into like a bad place and get a stomach ache or food poisoning. So that's a big deal here as well. A lot of people come out and they're like, oh, the food here is wonderful. There's food literally everywhere and everything is delicious and there's variety of dishes. Even a lot of famous chefs or people who are cooks all around the world, they come to Vietnam and they say this is their favorite cuisine and they love Vietnamese cuisine. But you gotta be careful when you eat it because sometimes like the sanitation may not be up to standards. If you're in a high-end restaurant, then don't worry about it. But a lot of shops, you gotta watch out. It's very rushed and they're trying to do the bare minimum, because again, they don't make a lot of profit margin. The food is so cheap, especially street food, that sometimes they cut a corner and then the result is your stomach. Another thing is like water and ice. If you're drinking a shake or a smoothie or something like that and have ice and local water in it, you don't know what kind of water quality they use. It may not be Perrier or Evian or something like that, Could even be tap water, so you might get like stomach bug or diarrhea if you're eating out and drinking out a lot. So be careful with that. Bring your own bottled water or go to 7-Eleven and buy like a new water bottle and bring with you everywhere. That's highly recommended. So yeah, second reason is a good and a bad thing, which is food. Like a lot of good food, but you may get stomach ache. Number 3, why people might be deterred to traveling to Vietnam, because of the far, long flights here. So you're flying, if you're from US or America, or Canada, it's gonna take you like almost a day to fly here. With overlay, depending on how long your overlay is and how many you have to stop. But typically for me from Toronto, it's gonna be like 21 to 23 hours with a 2-hour overlay. So people get tired, when you sit on the plane way too long. So make sure you guys have a regimen, some kind of routine when you get onto the plane. Relax yourself and just chill out, enjoy a movie, sleep or something. Have something comfortable on, have your favorite book or something with you to keep you comfortable. Otherwise, that long flight is gonna take a lot away from you. Sometimes I'm on a flight, I just eat and watch movie and just chill out and I barely sleep. So when I land in Vietnam, I sleep like the whole day to make it up. But yeah, the long flight is definitely a drawback. And number 4 is related to that as well, is the airport. When you hear the airport is so congested, you have to wait sometimes up to an hour or more, especially when you're landing. For some reason, a lot of planes land like late at night. So you have 2-3 flights landing at the same time. So hundreds of people queuing up and it's hot in there. I know they're building a new airport, so it's gonna be better. But the current airport is going to be hot, stuffy. Sometimes there's construction noises, kids running around screaming everywhere, a vendor trying to sell you SIM card. So it's a hectic environment, very crowded, small, no window or open ventilation, and very minimal AC. So that's another battle. When you land in Vietnam, you got to deal with the airport. But now they're opening a new airport at Long Tan, so hopefully that's going to be much better. It is further away from the center. It's going to be like 45-minute ride instead of like 20. But, hopefully it's going to be more quality, state-of-the-art kind of technology to keep everyone comfortable and flowing through the airport quickly. And when you get out the airport as well, try to avoid the fake taxis and stuff like that. Go for Mylin or Vinasun, look for the logo on Google and get the legitimate one. Otherwise, you may catch like a bad taxi and they're going to overcharge you. Like instead of 250K to go to the center, it's going to be 500K, something like that. So yeah, do your research, and you can also book Grab too. I think they'll pick you up there as well at the airport. So always download Grab, get some data, and you'll be good to go when you land in Vietnam. The fifth thing is air pollution. You know, in Vietnam, it's so beautiful. In a place like this with the park and beautiful trees, you know, the sun shining through, you can enjoy yourself out here quite a bit. But the thing is, if you're on the roads a lot, you're gonna find that air pollution is a big problem here. Today, AQI is reading around like 60 to 70, but typically it would go above 100, and it would not be abnormal to see above 150, which is like considered in the dangerous zone. It's going to be red. So now it's orange, still reasonable, it's okay. I guess yellow, under 100 is yellow, but you rarely see green days here. Coming from a place like Toronto, Canada, we see green days all the time, sometimes as low as like 16, 20. So the air is very nice. If you're coming from a place that's clean and pure like that, come to Vietnam may be a shock. So buy an air purifier and maybe buy some plants, you know, leave in your home, snake plants, you know, there's a lot of plants like that you can grow inside your home that's going to help you gauge the air quality and clean it as well. And make sure you rent a higher floor, open the window in the balcony, and get the ventilation through. So that's going to help as well. So air pollution, if you're on the road, have a mask on, you know. There's a lot of dust, and then the exhaust from all the bikes in the car is very stuffy. Construction is happening all around. This is, you know, a young city, a city that's growing. They're always closing down stuff, opening new stuff. So you're going to see construction sites. And even on the road, you know, there's a lot of dust and dirt flying about. Sometimes people burn stuff like garbage here, and they burn like, you know, fake money and gifts for the ancestor, for the gods and stuff like that. So you see a lot of people burning on the side of the road, especially in Hanoi. I noticed that quite a bit actually. But especially now with the dead season, Lunar New Year coming around, people are going to be burning a lot of stuff as well. So air pollution, definitely, you know, I don't have to go into that. You guys probably know. All around Asia, really, in India, China, you know, like Thailand, Nepal, Bangladesh, no matter where you go in Asia, it's not going to be like very clean unless you're in like a beach city like Bali or Phuket or something. Otherwise, air quality is going to be pretty bad. But, you know, come prepared, wear an N95 mask, not just a regular 3-ply mask, get an air filter and some plants. And I think you'll be okay. There's some trade-offs, you know. It's a beautiful country, beautiful city here in Saigon. So you get to enjoy all the benefits, but there's also some drawback, and air pollution is definitely one of those drawbacks. Another drawback is number 6, the weather. It gets a little bit too hot here sometimes, especially now we're approaching the season of, you know, April, May-ish. It's going to be extremely hot. That's summer here in Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City. And it's going to be sticky, it's going to be hot, and then it's going to be rainy, downpour. But the lucky thing is it only lasts for a few months. So if you come to Vietnam, avoid those months like April to maybe October. So anything after that is fine. The rainy season especially is from like August to October. That's going to be the worst time for you guys to be here if you don't like the rain. Can't really go out. The streets are flooding. And if you live in a house that is a little bit lower, the water might just flood right inside your living room. So be careful about that as well, where you choose to live and choose to rent, because when it rains, it pours here in Vietnam. And in the hot season, even regular season, whether you're here like, you know, February, March, you know, October, November, it's still going to be hot. It's hot all the time, you know, especially in the afternoon time. So sometimes you have to hide inside in mid-afternoon and just go outside early morning or later in the afternoon. It's going to be a lot more bearable. So that's another one. And then with the rain come the mosquito as well. So if you guys don't like mosquito, getting bitten all the time, you know, bring some spray and long clothing perhaps. But be prepared to get mosquito bite. Rent a place with, you know, well-ventilated AC and stuff on higher floor. You can avoid that, but not perfect. You still get mosquito in there. But especially if you're in a smaller city like Vũng Tàu, Nha Trang, Da Nang, and stuff like that, or in the Mekong Delta, in Vinh Hà Long, like the places where It's more rural, a lot of trees, a lot of streams and river around. There's gonna be a lot of mosquito, and they get really annoying. So it's definitely a big problem. They're small, but they can create a big problem. Number 7, why people might be deterred from traveling to Vietnam is it can get very expensive, especially you have relatives here. I mean, depend what family you're from, but a lot of people come back here and they give gifts and they give money, especially New Year. A lot of children, so you have like nieces and nephews and stuff, and even the neighbors' kids, they come around, especially if you're a foreigner, they think you have a lot of money. They're gonna ask you for money, and it's gonna get very expensive. Each person, $5 here, $10 there. You know, for older people, you can't give, $10. It's gonna be $50, $100. And all those gifts add up. It's gonna be thousands of dollars when you come back here, especially at Tết. You gotta buy those red envelope, the lucky money envelope, and hand them out. And yeah, gifts and things like that is gonna be a lot of money. And also people like throwing party on your behalf when you travel back here. So they're gonna buy chicken and roast pork, all the alcohol, entertainment, karaoke. Man, all those stuff add up. And if you're partying like every other day, prepare like tens of thousands of dollars. If you're here for a couple of weeks, prepare like $20,000, $30,000 for all the gifts and all the partying that you're gonna do. If you come back often, of course, you can set the boundaries and be like, I'm just here to chill, maybe some gifts for a few people, but you gotta set your boundaries. Otherwise, you can spend a lot on gifts to relatives and neighbors and friends like that. Number 8, why people may be deterred to travel to Vietnam is that they have no family here. There's no reason to come back for a lot of Vietnamese people when they don't know anybody. It's a very lonely place, even though it's a big city, but sometimes you walk around and you feel like you're out of place. You don't fit in, belong anywhere. Everyone has their friends, their circle, their family here. They chill in a close-knit community. Even if people are nice, they just say hi to you here and there, but at the end of the day, they're gonna go back to their own life, and your life doesn't matter that much. It's just a few minutes, maybe a drink, maybe a chat, but that's it. So when people don't have relatives here, they really have no reason to come back for a long time. Maybe you say, I'm come here and enjoy the party, enjoy the environment, have a few drinks and stuff like that. Yeah, you can do that by yourself, but it's gonna get bored real quick. It's gonna last you maybe a few days, and then you can get bored. And then with everything I listed, with the air pollution and all that stuff, with the food quality, getting stomach ache, you're gonna wanna get out. So family is one of the biggest factors to bring people back. And if you don't have any family or relatives here to visit, have fun, especially during this New Year season, you get to bond and hang out. It's a very festive season where it's surrounded by family. And if you're here and you're not like an introvert, you're gonna feel left out. So the last reason, number 9, is that some people here don't like, hanging out with Vietnamese people. So that might be a deterrent. A lot of times, Vietnamese people are nice, they're friendly, but it may not be your thing, You might be traveling to Vietnam and you say, I don't like the culture. People sing karaoke way too much, too loud everywhere. Everyone's smoking. Guys are peeing on the side of the road behind the tree. It's too smelly. People hustle me too much. They overcharge me for everything, or they're too aggressive. Whatever it is, So if you guys don't like the Vietnamese people, of course, that's another reason not to come back to Vietnam. But me being Vietnamese myself, I speak the language, understand the culture. It's quite easy for me to get along with pretty much everybody. The majority of the people I meet and come across, I can talk to and hang out with. So for me, it's all A-okay. But you guys, if you come back here for a while and you kind of feel out the vibe and you're like, Vietnamese people are not for me, then it's not for you. So those are the 9 reasons why people might be deterred from traveling to Vietnam in 2026. What do you guys think? Leave